The interior journey as cosmology. There's a question I asked myself for months while finishing the 3 volumes. What kind of book is this, exactly? Not in the genre sense. In the sense of what it does to the reader. What it proposes. What territory it opens. The answer I found, after months of analysis, is this. The B-files invert the logic of weird fiction. The inversion I hadn't named. Anglo-Saxon weird fiction, Lovecraft, Ligotti, Vandermeer, operates on a premise. The mind breaks as a consequence of exterior horror. The thing arrives from outside. The character sees it. The mind can't hold. It's the same logic that organizes at the Mountains of Madness, Ligotti's Teatro Grottesco, William Hope Hodgson's The House on the Borderland. The horror is outside. The mind is the container that breaks. In the B-files, the opposite happens. The superreality doesn't erupt from outside. It's made from the character's internal material. The breach isn't an external threat. It's a structural metaphor for what happens when the psyche can no longer hold the pressure. I knew this when I was writing it. I hadn't formulated it that way. The difference matters, because it changes what kind of book this is. It's not a book about the horror of what's outside. It's a book about the territory of the inside, and about what happens when that territory has no name, no map, and no one else knows it exists. And it has a consequence that isn't minor for how a story like this can end. If the horror comes from outside, the way out is almost always the dissolution of whoever is looking, the mind that can't hold, the character left as less than they were. But if the territory belongs to the character, mapping it isn't the same as being destroyed by it. I'm not promising that's a comfort. I'm promising it's consistent with everything else. The 3 investigators and what they carry. Each volume has one investigator at its center, and each carries something the universe amplifies rather than creates. The first learned as a child to read what others refuse to see. That skill and that wound are the same thing. The second documented 40 years of external cases with absolute precision. The notebooks no one was supposed to read are the only ones where he appears. The third discovers that the journey he's been documenting was always his own. The clinic and the superreality are 2 names for the same territory. What connects the 3 isn't the organization they work for. It's this. Each one found a way to live with what has no name. And that way, in all 3 cases, was documentation. I think of Philip Roth Zuckerman, of Sebald's Austerlitz, of Bolano's narrators who accumulate other people's stories to avoid telling their own. The investigator as a figure who looks outward to avoid looking inward, until that separation can no longer hold. What the archive does. Article after article in this series, I keep coming back to the same phrase. What isn't written down didn't happen, and what didn't happen can't be defended. For a long time I thought it was a phrase about world building, about how the chronology works, the case files, the crew. Now, at this point in the series, I think it's about something else, and that it's only here that it finishes saying what it had to say. Documenting interior experience, the crisis, the break, the reconstruction, is an act of resistance against whatever tries to erase it. Against silence. Against the pressure to act as if certain things don't exist because they have no name in the available vocabulary. That's what Bagabat, Alfaro, and Moran do. They aren't heroes. They're people who found in writing the only way to insist that what happened to them was real. The reader this book is looking for. The B-files aren't designed for the reader who wants the horror explained. They're designed for the reader who recognizes the territory from the inside, who knows what it is to carry something with no name in the available vocabulary, who knows the difference between the real world and the place you go when the real world isn't enough. That reader exists, and they almost never find genre fiction that treats them as an adult, that doesn't romanticize what they went through or use it as a plot twist, that simply documents it, with the same precision an archivist uses to document a coastal anomaly. If that reader is you, this is your book. I'm Damian Furfuro. Thanks for listening.